Welcome to Wheelock's Latin. I'm using the 7th edition. In this video, I'm going to tell you about Chapter 1. Before we can talk about the Latin, first we need to talk about a few grammar terms. The first one we're going to look at is parts of speech. We'll be learning some verb forms today in Latin. Verbs are the kinds of words that describe what the subject is doing, or it describes a state of being. Other parts of speech include nouns, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. We'll learn more about each of these later, and we'll talk more about what they mean in English as we learn the forms in Latin. So first I want to tell you a little bit about the concept of inflection. Inflection means that some part of the word, and in Latin this is usually the ending, some part of the word changes depending on how the word is used in a sentence. English doesn't have a lot of inflection, but it does have a little bit, and so I'll give you a few examples in English so that you can understand what the concept means. In English, we would say, I praise, but we use a different form of the word if we want to say, he praises. Notice the S on the end. That form of the verb, praises, can only be used with certain subjects. Those subjects could be he praises, she praises, it praises, or we can substitute specific nouns for those pronouns he, she, and it, like John praises, or the cat praises, or my mom praises. The form of the verb praise can only be used with other different subjects. So, for example, I praise, but also you praise, we praise, or they praise, or we can substitute specific nouns for the pronoun they, like my students praise or the cats praise. In English, another example of inflection is the past tense, I praised. The D is a marker of the past tense. You can use any subject with this one. I praised, you praised, he praised, we praised, they praised. Or the Pittsburgh Steelers praised. Any of these subjects are fine. The D on the verb tells you that we are talking in the past tense. So now let's look a little more closely at the concept of inflection and why it matters. English has very, very little inflection. Latin has lots and lots of inflection. What that means is you're going to learn lots and lots of forms of verbs, nouns, pronouns, and adjectives in this course. When you have very little inflection, your language has a very rigid word order. Word order tells you a lot of meaning. When you have a lot of inflection, then your word order is more flexible. So, for example, in English, the sentence, the professor loves the cat, you depend on word order to know who loves and who is being loved. The exact same words, move some of them around, and you get a completely different sentence with a different meaning. The cat loves the professor. In Latin, instead of moving the words around, you change word endings. So the professor loves the cat is magistra catum amat. The cat loves the professor is magistram catus amat. We didn't move the words around. Instead, we changed word endings on the nouns professor and cat. If I give you the sample sentence, amat catus magistram, you have to figure out who loves whom based on word ending, not on word order. Another consequence of inflection is that a language like English has lots and lots of helping verbs. You know these as the little words like will and would and could and should and was blanking and will be blanking, etc. Latin doesn't have those helping verbs. Instead, it uses inflected endings to designate all of those concepts. So in the next video, I am going to introduce you to Latin verb inflections.